Hello guys, in this video, this is just an HTML tutorial video, and in this video you will learn the basics of HTML. So this is just learn HTML in 1 hour. In this video you will learn the basics of HTML, what it's about, when it was created, and we are going to be using a website called betatrade.com. So with the website www.betatrade.com, we are going to follow their outline. So use their outline to explain what HTML is about. So in my VS Code, if you don't have VS Code, go to the website, search VS Code on your browser, and you download it, whether it's on iOS or Linux or desktop, your Windows desktop. So I have created a folder in my desktop folder of my system. So you can do the same. You can call your folder whatever you want. I've called it HTML tutorial. And before we get into this video, we're going to look at the websites that we're going to make use of. So let me cancel some of this. So yeah, this is the website betatrade.com, and now we're going to start with your HTML tutorial. So from here you can look at what is HTML. It says it's a markup language used to create web pages and web applications. It's a universal language to design a static web page. In 1989, Tim Berners-Lee and his team designed the present form of HTML. So now, this is the tried-out editor, but we are going to make use of VS Code for ours. This is just a simple HTML code, and what it brings out is hello world. If we change this to something else, it gives us that. So this is just an introduction. So this is just the introduction of HTML. So HTML is very essential to learn if you want to build a website. You can't build a website if you don't know HTML. It's one of the fundamental prerequisites. Look at it here. In learning other languages used for web development, we have other languages like CSS, JavaScript, and the rest. So, and for front-end web development, you need HTML. It's the structure of your web page, like the skeleton of the web page. So now let's go to next. HTML editors. So in order to create or edit HTML files, you need a text editor. So here are some lists. Visual Studio Code, that's what we are using right here. This is what we are using. Visual Studio Code. Then text edit, Notepad, Notepad++, and the rest. You can all download any of these. So how to save HTML files. Create a new file. We're going to do this once we begin. You create a new file on your device, then choose whatever name you want, add the .html or the .htm extension after the file name. So I can call it firstpage.html or firstpage.htm. Then you click save and start coding. So this is HTML comments, but we are going to come back to this. Let's go to HTML elements. So an HTML element is usually composed of a start tag, also known as an opening tag, the element's contents, and the end tag. So before we get into all of this, let's go back to this. Let's create an HTML page. So I'll just call it index.html. So now I'm just going to use a shortcut. I'm going to show you guys how to do it. You just do Shift 1. Yes, so to bring out these two options, choose the first one. This what you're seeing right here is just the basic template for an HTML page. And before you can run HTML page on your browser, you need an extension called Live Server. So I actually have two here. One is called File Server and Live Server. So this Live Server, you just go to your extensions here, and then you download it. Just click, search the name, live server. But I have it installed. I'm going to show you that right now. So this is it. Live server by Rhetoric Day. And this you see different informations about it. Then let me go back. Let me go back. So this is it. Index of HTML. So let me run it on the browser right now. Let's wait a bit. It's loading. Okay. So it just shows this document, then a blank white page. This is because there's nothing on the page. But if I add something like in the body tag, I'm going to explain all of this. I am learning. If I put something like this, so if I put something like this, and okay, hold on a bit. Let me get back to the. So if I run it again, let's wait for it a bit. Yeah, I'm learning HTML. So there was a bit of error on my system, but sorry for that. It's auto. It will show automatically once I'm learning HTML. If I change it to something else like I am learning, let me cancel this. I am learning. I am learning. So it's auto changes. So that's by the way. So now an HTML element of this is this what that you're seeing here. This is the start tag, and this is the end tag. All of is the, this is the start tag. Then this is the element contents. It's just like what we just did and what we got here. So we're going in this tutorial, we're going to be using more of VS Code. So this example composed of the following: a start tag, elements content, and end tag. Let's move to nested. In some cases, an HTML element can contain one or more. You can embed an HTML element within another HTML element. They help you build the web page. There are different elements. We have the call them elements or tags. They are still the same thing. The paragraph, the this, and they all have the abbreviations. So like paragraph, I means italics to size the text. There's the body tag representing the body of the document. And the HTML tag, different kind of tags, and they all function to the web page. So this makes the text. Let's run this on VS Code. Yeah, okay. Now you see, look at how the text is different. Tag. Okay, hold on a bit. So nested HTML elements. Now this is just explaining all I've just said. The I tag italicizes the text. So there are two types of elements in HTML: empty elements or slash tags, or container elements. Empty elements, they do not have an end tag. They themselves are the start and end tag. For example, the input elements, the line break, which is arrow meaning row, a meta tag, the link tag, the image tag for the like the at the end. They are called entry elements. They do not have content in them. They themselves have a function. The input tag is for inputs, like if you want to put maybe a sign up form, something like that, or the line break, the horizontal row. All these have a role that they play on the web page, but they don't have any element content. And it's always advised to put a forward slash sign before the greater than sign. So this sign before the ending of the tag. So now coming to container elements or tags, we have the type. So here to show that it's a web page. That's the main purpose of it, to show that it's a web page, a HTML web page. Nothing too much to it. There are different kind of doc types, but this video is not going to delve into that. So now it's just used to tell the browser that is following is a HTML document, entire HTML document, and everything needed. So coming back here, you see the HTML tag. This tag contains every other thing. It contains the head tag, the body tag, every other tag that you need. They are all inside the HTML tag. It comprises of every single thing in the entire document of that page. That's that page. Then we have the body. This tag is just to make so it's just they are self-explanatory. Title, the title of the document, and you put it's placed inside the head tag. The head tag is used as a, so for now, look at if I come back here, look at it. This is the title tag. And look at document. If I change this to document 2, then I come here, look at it. The title is different. So it just controls the title, and this title is actually important for search engine optimization. So when you're building your own websites, you have to make sure that the title resonates with what you're actually doing. You don't give a different title and you have a different thing on your page. Don't give the title of um just don't you should relate with what you're doing so that search engines can understand what is on your documents or your page, your website, whatever you're doing. So now back to the tutorial. So the body tag, the body of the HTML documents, it includes all the other tags. So it's just explanatory. It's just the body. It's just like example, you're writing a letter and you have the the title, the body. You always have the body. So all these are basic tags. There are a lot of tags in HTML, but these are the basic ones you need to know as a beginner. The H1 tag, this tag is a heading. So I'm going to give an example. Above this, I'm going to put H1 and I'll put heading. This this text showing heading. Now, the thing about this H1, there's H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. The last is H6. So now, as you're coming down the ladder from H1 to H6, it reduces with size. So I'm going to do something real quick. Just I'm going to do something real quick. I'm going to show you how it looks like with down to H2, H3. So H2, we have the thing. H3, the same thing. H4, the same thing. Yes. I'm going to do it up to H5, H6. So you're going to see the difference between each heading. So yes, this is H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. As you're seeing it, there's a decreasing order in size. So this is very, very important to note. Let me identify it better. One, two, three, four, five, and six. So yes, that's it. So that's it for the heading. So let's proceed. Now we have the paragraph tag. So we've used this. So there's nothing much. It's just a line of text. The paragraph, just a line of text representing a paragraph. So we move over to HTML attributes. So we're going to talk about this real soon. Okay, let me cancel this, some of these things. Wait, I remove some of these. Okay, so back to the tutorial. HTML attributes are used to provide HTML elements can have what in HTML tag attributes only HTML explain each of them one by one, amend them. The href attributes is used in is to provide a link, external link being a link to another website or a resource in your own document on your own website. So then you have the src attribute, which is the source attribute. So now we talked about the image tag as im, but not here. It was in the introduction. And the src attribute, which is the source attribute, carries the path to an image. So now we have the width and height. These are self-explanatory. The the width attribute is the width of the of whatever is assigned to. Whatever is assigned to. We have the style attributes, which is styling, which is inline CSS. Of this. So I'm going to create another page in my VS Code. I'm going to call it index2.html. To just give me a basic HTML page. Let's change the title to second page. So this is the title. And here I'm just going to have a heading, a H1 saying second page. So that's all. I'm going to cancel all this. I'm going to paste the anchor tag with its href attributes. So here I'm going to change this pound sign and I'm going to put index2. .html. You see, VS Code interline says just it automatically brings out options for you once it knows that you want to, there's something that you want to bring out instead of you typing everything manually. So now this is the link. So automatically it's going to show you like this, and the color is going to be blue with the text underlined. So once I click this link, you see it brings me to the second page. See, that's the purpose of the links, and they are very, very good. If I put a link to an external website, it's going to bring that out. But there's no need for that. This is just the basics. Now you understand it. If you want to put an external website, you can have something like https://google.com. Simple. So no need for this. Clear all of this out. My attributes them. So I said I'm going to go back to HTML comments. And what was delving back into it? Comments, HTML comments, they are just text. HTML comments are just text that you add to your documents in case you forget code or the purpose of code sometimes, or to make the documents more readable. If you have multiple people working on the same project and your colleagues, and you want them to be able to read your documents, especially if your code is long, or if your code is such a way that you can't refactor it to be more readable, you add comments. So the comments you just this text, they do not show on the browser. So the browser does not show comments, only in the code. So and from here you look at an example of comments, multi-line comments, single line. So I'm going to make use of, and I'll place it into the body. So now you look, the syntax of the comment is very, very simple, and I'm going to do it here. Just this. When you put this, you call it the less than sign, or better in program, you just call it an angular bracket, left angular bracket with an exclamation mark and two hyphens. After that, you can write anything. It also brings out the other sides. You can write I am a comment. That's all. If you want it to be multi-line, you just do the same thing and you just break it. If I bring this back and I break it and I break this, I can just simply copy this and I'll put it here. I'll put it here. Very simple. Very simple. It's just like this. You just to break it and you get what you want. Now I'm going to undo all of this. It's not needed. It's just all about comments. And you can also use it if you forget that they won't be displayed. So we've talked about the href attributes, so no need to, let's skip that. Now over to the src attributes. This attributes, this is an image. So images have they have different extensions. We have jpg, jpeg, png, svg, scalable, a lot of them. And all this so if I run the code, it brings out this image. I want to implement this in VS Code, so I'm going to do that real quick. Let me just find a way to do this quickly. So I'm going to my want to get an image, any image I have. Okay, I'm going to copy this image and put it here. So I'm going to paste the image. Bank. This is just an image of a bank. Now I'm going to type it, hard code this img. So the img tag, then the src attributes. The IntelliSense has brought this out. So now once I type B, it knows that there's an image called that starts with letter B. So it brings out all possible options. And note that the img tag is the img tag is the tag that brings out for images. So now this error is showing me says images must have an alternative text. So now what's an alternative text? It's also an attribute, the alt attributes. I've not talked about that, so I'm just going to skip all this and go straight to it. The alternate attribute is used inside the image tag to store description about the image. So it just sometimes when you're trying to load, that's what you call an alternate text, alt attributes, which brings out the alternate text. The text just is just for description about the image, nothing much. So now once I put alt a bank, simple. So now let's try and load the image. See, it works very, very, very well. It shows the image properly. Now let's try doing this without the image parts. Let's see what will happen. You see now it shows a bank, and this a bank is our alternate text. Then it shows this like whatever this thing is, just to show you that the image is not available. So an alternate has taken the place of the image. It's just a very. I'm going to put the image part back so we can continue the tutorial. So back here, let's go back to the width and height attributes. So the width and height attributes, you can either add them directly. For example, to an image tag, just put width and height. You can add that or use the style attributes. But since we've not talked about style attributes and how it works, I'm just going to use the traditional way of adding width and height. So I'm just going to put 300. Normally the most common measurement of width and height is pixels, but you actually don't have to add pixels because when you're using the width and height attribute. So you see the image is bigger and it's wider and it's longer. If I make this 600, just to show you how big it can get, so it's much more bigger. So I've just reduced this back to its original. So now that's just the basis of the width and height attribute. You can resize the image and just whatever you want. The style attributes. The purpose of the style attribute is to add some level of styling. So now remember in the beginning, in the introduction, HTML is like the skeleton and it's the structure. Then JavaScript is to add your web page is just it should just be blank. Without HTML, you won't have any web page. Without JavaScript, lack of interactivity. So all these technologies combined together help to build beautiful web pages. Just like this website that you're seeing here, you need all of them. So now, the style attributes enables us to add some level of styling, also known as inline styling. So if you click here, it's going to take you to the CSS tutorial. So now, look at this. The style attribute style equals to, now we have the, yes, we have this. Then the name value page. Remember, in the other tutorial, in the previous HTML attributes, let's go back. So yes, the element name, the attributes name, then the value. All these are important. So look at this. The element name h1, attributes name style, then the value. So now the value here is color, blue. You can set the color to any other thing, but color is blue, red, indigo, violet, anything. Then we can add the font size, which is the size of the text. You can add text decoration, but that will only be in the CSS tutorial. That will be explained very well in the CSS. So this is the HTML tutorial. And now what you're looking at, if we copy all of this directly from the website and go to VS Code, below the image, we're going to implement all this. So now there's a warning. So let's look at CSS inline styles should not be used. Move styles to an external CSS file. So this warning, before in the former before it wasn't like this. You could use inline styles, but I guess you can't use it now because they have changes. So we won't use it directly here. We'll use it from the website. So we're going to try it out. So now, what we're expecting to see is a text, I love HTML, blue, another text, I love HTML, with a font size of 50 pixels, and the third text with a text decoration of underline. So now, look at this, blue, 50 pixels underline. This is wonderful. So one reason I love this website, it's if you're learning directly from the website, it's going to be very, very good to use it directly. And you can also copy the code. Just copy to clipboard, or save the code. Saved. So now, back to business. Let me go back. That's it with the style attributes. I would love to delve more into this, but this is an tutorial. If you want to learn more about CSS, I'll drop a CSS tutorial on this. So the explanation is very straightforward, and I've explained it. I've explained the ALT attributes. Now the lang attributes. It's also very, very straightforward. You just specify the language and HTML documents. So now take a look at this document. HTML lang. The lang attribute only appears in the HTML element. This is very important. It only appears in the HTML element. Then you put lang, then the value. The value here is en. So you know there are other languages, but en, you can put en dash us or to specify whether it's US English or UK English. But this is the default English and United States English. That's the default because yeah. So that's just very straightforward. Now we have the ID and class attributes. So now the ID and class attributes give reference to elements inside an HTML document. This is very very overwhelming, but it's very very simple. So now I'm going to explain this more, but I'm going to try to pause this. I'm having some little difficulties trying to pause this. So okay, give me some time. Let me. Okay, I was having some difficulties trying to arrange it, but I'm very very sorry for that. You don't really... Okay, guys, we are back. Now we stopped at the ID and class attributes. So the multiple elements can have the same class name or value, but for the ID, its value must be unique for each element. So class and ID, they have a role in HTML and CSS. They help us to, for example, I can call a class in HTML, and a class in HTML in no yeah in HTML is just the class and the text, which is the attribute name and the attribute name and the value. Then I can call the class in CSS. When I call the class in CSS, the style, for example, this is just there's nothing really going on here. I'm going to show you an example with VS Code. So let me copy this. Now below the no, let's put it below the image. So now this is the class text. Now I'm going to call a CSS file style.css, or should I? Okay, yeah, style.css. Now the class name is text. ID name cannot be text. Well, it can, but I don't want it to be text too. So now we learn that the class can be for multiple elements. You can use the same class for multiple HTML elements, but the ID must be unique to only one HTML element. If you have used it for one HTML element, it's a big chance that it's not going to work for the other elements. So let me just put a little style in here. The class always starts with dots, so txt text. Then I'll just put background color, so background, then red. Then for the ID, always starts with the pound sign. We usually call it hash, the hash sign, but in programming we call it the pound sign. Text, and I'm going to add a background color of green. That's it. Now the only thing I'm going to do here is just to link the external CSS file, because this is no longer inline CSS, it's an external CSS. I'm going to link it somewhere here so that it's going to be viewable. So yes, directly below the title tag, I'm just going to put link. The link tag is just, we can use to add the path to the external CSS. We want it to be viewable here, and once the HTML elements to be able to catch the class from the CSS so that they can have the styling. So I'm just going to put link rel. This is going to be style sheet because CSS is just a style sheet. Then href. Remember href, the purpose of href is to provide a path. Now we use it in the anchor tag to provide links to different pages. So now the name of the page is style.css. You can see the interlicense at work, VS Code interlicense. Then type, not type actually. So now we've put the rel style sheet href is equals to style.css. So the type the type is going to be text slash css type, because we need to tell the tag that this is going to be a css file. Text slash css. So this is looking good. This is also an empty tag, looking good. So okay, it's not working. Let me check. Okay, I think it's because there's no element content. So let me try and add a paragraph here. I'll say hello. Also make sure that's working well. Background color. Okay. Hmm. What's the issue? What's the issue? Let me change it. Font size. No. The background color should work. Should work. So let's troubleshoot. Let's troubleshoot. mm, href style.css class text. Mm. Okay, let me try adding the class to just a paragraph. I'm going to temporarily remove the paragraph here. No, okay, this is just a mistake. I'm just going to temporarily remove the paragraph. Temporarily remove all of this and now add this. So the class is going to be text, text, then I put hello. If this doesn't work, it might either be from my VS Code or there have been some changes. I think there have been some changes. That should probably be the issue because the class it should actually work. Let me change this to color. Okay, style.css. If it doesn't work, then okay, it didn't work. Wow, this is a real issue. Yes, it actually is. It actually is. So I'm just going to leave this temporarily. I'm going to come back to this. So we have to move on regardless. Regardless. So now HTML headings. I won't really talk about this because it's straight to the point. I've talked about it before, the HTML headings and the color, the style attributes. We've talked about this. Alignments, text align. This is just using the same style attributes, you can align it to the center, right or left. So directly from here, we have the H1 style. So now text align. The first goes from align to the center, second to the right, and third to the left. So I'll run the code. Very simple. Center, right, and left. Yes. So now, HTML paragraph. I'm also not going to talk about this. Just straight to the alignments and run the code. The same thing because I've delved into this. So HTML styles. Okay, now let's talk about this. We've talked about the inline styling, style attributes, blah blah blah. You can also add styles directly to the HTML documents. There's internal styling. So there are three types: inline, internal, and external. Internal is where you add the styling directly to the page. So I'm just going to put this, and from when you want to read, let's a CSS rule set in an internal style sheet. An internal style sheet is composed of one or more cascading style sheets. Cascading style sheet stands for CSS. The CSS rule set. A CSS rule set consists of a selector, a declaration block surrounded by curly braces that contains one or more CSS declarations separated by semicolons. This explanation is overwhelming. So straight to the point. It has the style tag and its attribute is the type attribute with the value of text as CSS. And inside this tag, you can declare which element you want to style. So now, this is the paragraph tag P, curly braces instead of angular brackets or curly braces or curly brackets. Inside this, we have the styling. So instead of the traditional way of just putting style equals to comma inverted commas, both color is equals to red or font size or text align or whatever, you can just put it directly. This is the faster way of doing things. So now, let's try it out. There might have been some version changes, but let's implement it right after we look into the rest. So we've looked at inline styling, so no need to look at that again. All these alignment examples, there are things we've done. Font size, we've done this. Changing background, so changing background color. White smoke. White smoke is actually a color. So the text sizing, different pixels, 20, 30, 40 pixels. There are different measures of size. You can also use other kind of measures, but I prefer to use pixels. It's just the traditional and basic way. So I'm going to put this inside the head. So this is the styling. It should actually work. Uh, just put hello on the font size. I'm just going to change this to like 5 pixels. It should work. Okay, it works. So I think there was an issue with the external CSS with the way I set it up. Internal CSS is working fine and very good. So let me give you another example. Let me change the color to blue. Okay, okay. The color is blue. Sometimes you have to reload the page, which makes me even think that maybe I should have reloaded the page for the others. But okay, it's all good. Now I don't need all this, so I'm just going to cancel. I've explained this and remove this. So I'm just going to show you using the style attribute to set the width and height before I continue. So style attributes. So now you put the width to no 300 pixels. Then it's separated by semicolons. Height 300 pixels. If you're having issues with any of this, you can just go straight to betatech.com. Betatech.com. Then you can look at the tutorials for yourself. So yes, it's the same size as before. All I just did was just make a little fix. So now back to this. Let's move on. HTML colors. So we have three types of HTML colors. No, four types actually. The color name, the hexadecimal colors, the red, green, and blue, which is RGB. Then we have the HSL, hue, saturation, and lightness. Uh, for these ones, I'm just going to do it directly from the the website. So now, the first example, just your normal H1 with the color blue, background color blue, straight to the point. You just copy it directly. I love this website very well because you can actually copy without. So now, simple, straight to the point. Hexadecimal colors. So now these are things that you need to note because these are tricky and they are you need to know them actually as someone who is learning HTML. Hex colors introduces a pound sign. May I call it hash, whatever you want to call it. It contains 6 characters. So it can also contain 3 characters. Yes, it can contain 3 characters. Six. The short form is 3 characters. Then the first 2 characters indicate the color red. The next two indicates color green, and the last two indicates color blue. Hex colors the range starts from 0, which is the lowest intensity of light, and it's color black, and F being the highest intensity of light, which is white. Hex colors run from 0 to 9 and A to F. Hexadecimal meaning those who have alphabets A to F and also numbers 1 to 9. So go to see some examples. So we said 0 is the lowest intensity of light. So using the pound sign, this is external CSS. No, not external. Inline CSS. Using the lowest intensity of light, 0. The first one is supposed to be black. The highest intensity of light is second supposed to be white. So I don't expect us to be seeing it right here. Then the third one, no, I said that the first two indicate red, and they're all having no. Like there's something you need to understand because this is having FF, and you're seeing you think that white is the FF, which is the highest intensity of light, and you're seeing this black. You might get confused. Don't get confused. Once you see that the first two are having the highest intensity of light and the rest are having low intensity of light, just know it's that color. FF, the first two mean red, then the next two mean green, then the last two mean blue. See the way I ordered it so you understand. Now, purple is a color formed by adding red and blue. So FF meaning red. This is the first two, which is red, and the last two, which is blue. Red plus blue, purple. Red plus green gives you yellow. When you add these two and these two, let me run the code. So now, this is what you're seeing. You might think there's nothing here, but once I highlight it, you're going to see it. Very, very simple. Once I scroll down, you see the rest, purple and yellow. That's very simple. And so it's the shorthand, just three, just straightforward, just the same thing, just the shorthand format. I said that you can use three of the characters instead of six. Then we have RGB. It defines the color using this format. RGB, then the brackets, number, comma, number, comma, number. Example, RGB 255, 255, 255. 255 is the highest intensity of light in this case, and 0 is lowest intensity of light. So now it's very, very simple. R meaning the first, G second, B third. Very, very simple. The numbers represent the intensity of red, green, and blue in order respectively. So once you see this, it's just the same thing, just as identical to the hexadecimal, just that just different syntax and format of getting the colors. So the same thing, 000 black, lowest intensity of light, highest intensity of light, red, green, blue, red plus blue, purple, red plus green, yellow. Once I run the code, exactly the same thing, same thing. Now this place is actually tricky. Hue, saturation, and lightness. It's very, very easy, usually the hardest to understand for a lot of people. So now, I'm not going to delve into it much. Not really. I'm not going to delve into it. So I'm going to skip it. Opacity or the transparency of the color. The range for the alpha channel starts from 0.0 to 1.0. Alpha channel means how opaque or how transparent it is. No, opacity means you can't see through it. Transparency, you can see through it. So now, the more transparent it is, the lighter the color is, and the more it tends to fade away. The more opaque it is, or opaque, whatever you want to call it, the more it's very bright. You can see the color, it's sharp. So now the alpha channel can only be applied to RGB and HSL colors values actually. You can add it in hex and you can add it to color name. So now using this, you have to add A. So RGBA, HSLA, but I didn't explain the HSL, so just ignore both of this. So this is our case values. And you know the first is red, so 255. Note, unlike the other way that you just put RGB, when you want to add alpha channel, you need to put it. Once I run the code, I am red. Look at the way it's red, but it doesn't really look red because it's not sharp. Then if I change the opacity to one, just one, you see how sharp it is. If I use it, make it more transparent, 0.1, to almost fade away. Look at this. It's almost unseeable. The same thing with this. Exactly the same thing. Next, HTML links. We've talked about this, and I don't think we need to talk about it more. We've talked about how you can link a file in your directory or your documents, then and a link to an external website, then empty links. These are links that don't have a path. Now this is where I'm coming to. Image as a link. You can use an image as a link, and I'm going to show you an example. Let's have a look in this image right here. So now we have this image. Let me cancel this. It's not needed. I'll remove this and I'll just use the default width and height. 300, height 300. So now I'll use the default width and height. So this HTML tutorial is they're going to be in two parts. There's going to be part one and part two. So this is actually the part one and it's going to be ending very, very soon. So I'm just going to round up with maybe a few pages and The next part we're going to learn the other part of HTML basics. The other part is going to be more, this more advanced than this. So now to put the link, let me I'll remove the image first. Then I'll start with the anchor tag for links, then the href attributes. Then I'll put this part index2.html. Remember I said that you can link to an image in your directory or a page in your directory or an external website. So now I'll put index2.html. Don't forget to put your the alternating attributes alt. Sorry, very big mistake. Just notes. I just made a mistake right here. And ensure not to make this mistake. Don't ever put the alternative attributes in any other element. It's just the image elements. So now this is the link. Normally you want to put a text, but instead of putting a text, I'll put the image. The image will now play the role of the text. Let's see how this works. Let me reload this. So now you see the image. Now you see this hand show like a link. I click it. It has brought me to the second page. So it works very efficiently. Very efficiently. Now, target link methods. These are there are different methods for links. And you need to know this, and it's very important. One of the importance of this is because, for example, underscore blank, the target value underscore blank, it will open the link document in a new window or tab. Self will open the link document in the same frame as it was clicked. So now, if I do this, I'll put target underscore blank. I will show you an example. I put the target underscore blank. Open the link in a new tab, or let's see how this works. Wait, let's go back. Okay, it didn't open the new tab. There might be some issues, some version issues with this target underscore blank. Why didn't it work? Let me try self. Well, we'll have to leave this and move to the next. HTML horizontal rule. So we're going to take all of this in the next but we are still working on this. HTML horizontal rule. This creates a line, a horizontal line below or above whichever element you put it under or above. So now the HR tag horizontal rule is an empty element and is used to create horizontal rules. If I click right out, we have a paragraph here and we have a horizontal rule, then another paragraph below it. If I run this code, what do you see? You see a paragraph, you see a line, and you see another paragraph. Very efficient. If you want to demarcate documents or just maybe in your footer of your website or web page, whatever. If you want to style the HR element, this is how you do it. HR color. Now you don't use the style attributes. You just put the you don't put the style at the you don't need the style attributes and you don't need the attributes name. Or do you? Not no need. So you just have HR color and red, width, height. Those are the only things. You don't put anything like font size or because it's not a text. Or yeah, you just put width, height, and color. Once I run the code, you're seeing one HR with color red, the next with a width of 70%. This is this, and the next with a height of 70 pixels, which is not really showing. If I change this to 20%, very evident. You're seeing it. So now to the next page, HTML line break. A line break is used to add HTML line break is used to add a line break to a text. The BR element, which is a line break, as an empty element, and it's used to move the text to the next line. Example, you're seeing all these text. I am a text. BR, I am text BR. You will see the difference. Let me copy the code quickly and put it here. Now look at this. It just looks like a normal text. But when it is run, this text are having BR will be on a separate line. Each of them will be on their own line. But you see this text, they're going to be on one single line. That's why I'm commenting it. Text with line breaks, text without line breaks. Now let's see how it works. You see, these texts are on their own line, but these are on different lines. Let's move to the next, please. Next, HTML text formatting. Wow. So this is very straightforward. There's nothing much to this. Nothing much to this. Text formatting is just formatting elements with different HTML um formats. So we have EM for emphasize text, I for italicizing a text, B for making it bold, U for underline, small to make it small, strong to make it darker and bolder, S to strike, Q to end quotes, TT to typewrite the text, KBD, this is to make it as a keyboard text, mark, this marks a text, and code, this makes it look like a computer code. Once I run it, you're seeing this, all of this, all of this. Then if I put it into play, the this typewriter text is I think it's deprecated, but I'll just use it like that. You're seeing all of this, yes. I can also mix text, mix them together, but no need for that. So in um the next tutorial, we're going to delve more into all of this. This is the end of the tutorial.